Okay, we have to cut the top. I will have to explain for you what I have done here. To cut your top, you need to measure the length of your top first. To do that, you start by measuring 1 inch from the top. 1 inch, because you want a line that you will start your reference point. Then you will now measure from that reference point down the length of your top. In this case is 42 inches. You mark it, and then you measure your bust line. How do you determine that? Your shoulder divided by 2 is your bust line. In this case it's 9.5. I had added half inch, so it gave me 10. So I had marked 10 from my reference point. See the reference point? That's where you place and you mark 10. Like that, you mark 10. You come here to the border. You mark also half of your shoulder, which is let's say it's 14. You have to mark 7. Okay, take into consideration your hem allowance, so you can give it 7.5 instead of 7, and you mark it. You come here also, you mark your 7, not 7.5. You have to mark your bust, because this is the bust line. Okay, on your this bust line, you measure your bust, divide by 4. You mark it here. Okay, and you consider giving it allowance for sewing. So you come down to your waistline. You divide also your waistline by 4. Whatever you have, you mark it and you put it there. And then for your that, this is just the basic standard that, no fancy that. It's just an easy dress. You will divide your bust span, which is your nipple to nipple measurement. You divide it by 2 and you mark it here. In this case it's 8. I had marked 4. Divide by 2, it's 4. I had marked 4. And then right here you have to mark from your shoulder down your under bust line. In this case is 14. Okay, then from your waistline you measure to under your bust, or let's just start from the shoulder so it will not be confusing. From the shoulder down 14. Okay, on that 14 you mark it. Then you will measure 2 inches upward, because this person's bust is small, so 2 inches will be to her nipple points, and then we mark it. Then we will connect. We'll put here 1 inch, on this side 1 inch, and we connect to give us like a triangle. That will be for the dart. In this case now, the dart total is 2 inches. You come to where your waist measurement was, you mark 2 inches, and then you add 1 inch or 1.5 inch, as the case may be, for hemming allowance. Okay, so at the bottom, of course, you have to add 1 inch for sewing. You have to attach it to the skirt. And on the shoulder, you make 1 inch down to make your shoulder slope, and then you add a seam allowance, and then you give your neck whatever design you like. If you like an open neck, you can go up to 4 inches wide from the corner inward, and then you give it whatever design you like. And then with hemming allowance here on your arm curve, you differentiate between the front and the back. You go out by 1 inch. You come here, you divide this portion by 2. Like this case is 10, you divide by 3 to be 5. That is where you will be able to give your arm curve. And then from this 1 inch, you measure inward and you make your curve also. That would be your front curve. This is the front curve, this is the back curve line. Okay, So when you want to cut, you will cut the back line, just like we did for the sleeve. You will cut this back line out, and then when you spread it, before you will now cut the front curve out. Okay, so you will have a difference between the back and the front. Okay, so I am going to cut this front pattern and use it to cut the back pattern, because the back pattern will have a zip allowance. Okay, there I have cut it out. I'm going to demarcate the front now. Okay.